videos on YouTube and on television where I'm speaking a lot on the Manipur crisis, hoping and praying to the Lord Almighty for peace to return to Manipur. Well, let me tell you all why and how I am concerned with Manipur. Well, when I say that I am concerned with Manipur, I mean I am concerned with the entire Northeast. I have strong attachment towards Northeast. Let me tell you how and when my relationship with the Northeast began. I was hardly 3 years old. I began my schooling, my class nursery from the Northeast. Yes. I was in Arunachal Pradesh in a place called Tanga Valley. That's very close to Tawang, Kirmu. In that area, that's very close to the border, in fact. Now, when I was small, I have very fond memories of Arunachal Pradesh. And I have, being an army brat, I have traveled widely in Arunachal, in other states of Northeast as well. Now, carrying forward a bit more, my father has had several tenures in the Northeast, who I personally call as an authority on Northeast. The kind of information, the kind of knowledge, the kind of, he knows the entire Northeast back of his hands. Not just Manipur or Nagaland or Arunachal or Mizoram or Tripura, no. Or he knows the entire Northeast so well. Well, I speak a few Northeast languages and a few dialects as well, fluently. And but if some people tell me that I have great knowledge of Northeast, I don't think so. I think I'm learning, and I learn through practical experience on ground. If you think those people who think I have good knowledge of Northeast, let me tell you all that it's not even one person to what Lieutenant General Zamiruddin Shah, the former Deputy Chief of the Army Staff, who was also the GOC at the spkr. He knows. That's my father. Okay, now he was a brigade major in Nagaland in Chakabama. He was a battery commander in Arunachal Pradesh. He commanded a brigade from Manipur, from Thobal district, Kakshan, and the brigade did really well. They won a lot of hearts and minds of the locals over there. He has been the corps commander at the spkr. In fact, this tie is the spkr tie that I'm wearing, by the way. I had the honor and fortune that upon commissioning, when I became an officer in the army, I was in Jammu Kashmir for 2 years. I saw counter-terrorism, counter-insurgency operations over there. I was at the border, at the line of control for about 2 years, and where I was manning the last post of the country. I was just 30 meters away from the Pakistani post. So here was our flag, and here 30 meters away, beach mein border tha, was the Pakistani flag. So anyway, so when I went from J&K to the Northeast, I found the way of operating in the Northeast was very different to the way one would operate in Jammu Kashmir. Now, firstly, I was stationed in Rangapad, in Dimapur, in Nagaland, and in fact, I must tell you, the first time I went to Manipur was in 1997, right? And in 1997, what had happened? One of the biggest ethnic clashes in Manipur had taken place. That's the Thadao speaking Kuki and the Kuki Zomi tribe. They had clashed. So the Kukis from the North Manipur region were driven to Rashanpur. And now the very fact is a lot of families were displaced, a lot of people were killed. But in 1998, the Mizos stepped in and a peace accord was signed and a bull was sacrificed, and they became friends once again. There was a time when Nagas and Kukis used to be bitter enemies, sworn enemies. And both the communities, if you see, Nagas and Kukis are Christians. They both follow Christianity. So right now what's happening in Manipur is not about religion. It's not Hindus versus Christian. No. It's a community, Maite community. We have to understand the tribal culture, the tribal affinity, the ethnic culture, the geography, topography, demography, the history of the region. Now they are Maites. Meiteis are basically, it's a community, right? As I told you, as per the 2011 census, there are 53% Meiteis. Now, Meiteis comprise of, the majority are Manipuri Hindus. They are Manipuri Muslims as well who are Meiteis. Like, for example, Pangals. Pangal from Bengal. So, Pangal. In 1972, the chief, when the state was newly formed, Manipur, there was Mr. Ali Muddin, who was the chief minister of Manipur at that time. Then they are the Christians also. There are some Meitei Christians as well. Then they are Sanamais. Sanamais is a separate religion altogether. It's neither uh, Christianity nor Islam nor Hinduism. It's a different religion. There's a different temple of there as well, right? So now we have to understand that. When I was in Nagaland, we'll come to Manipur as well, which is the burning crisis right now. When I was in Nagaland, when I was posted in Nagaland as the ADC to the GOC of this fair corps, which was incidentally Lieutenant General Zamiruddin Shah, my father, and I learned a lot. It sounds very glamorous that, oh, you're doing ADC to your father. But my father, that time, not my father, that time my reporting boss, the boss I would report to, General Shah, was very, very strict with me. He made sure that I learn. And I learned as his ADC, and so I learned the local dialect, the tribal culture, the tribal affinity. Like, for example, there are different tribes in Nagaland. They are Aos from Mokokchung. They are Angamis, who are dominated mainly in Kohima or Zakama. Then they are Lothas, who are predominantly dominated in Vokha the district. Then they are Semas, who are dominant in Zoneboto. Like that, then they are the Konyaks, who are dominated in Mon and Twinsang. Then they are Chakisangs, who are dominated in Fort Zero or Chakabama. Chakabama is the place where my father, in the early 80s, when Nagaland was on the boil, was posted in. Then there are other districts in Nagaland, like there's Perrin, there's Fake. Then there are different districts, and I had the honor of visiting every single village, every single district, by land, by foot, by gypsy, by army truck, and by a helicopter as well. So the entire almost, and the sphere corps covers whole of Manipur, whole of Nagaland, the whole of Mizoram, the whole of Tripura, and South Assam. So predominantly 4.5 states. So you can imagine if you are covering 4.5 states, and as an officer, when I got posted in the Northeast, I first went to Manipur in the year 2005. And 2004, the infamous, allegedly Manolma Devi rape case had just taken place. So the army and the Assam Rifles had taken up a beating. So my friends over there in Manipur, when they saw me in uniform, or the local or the villagers, they saw me in uniform with my weapon and ammunition and my bulletproof gear and all equipped, they would say, Ali, after meeting an officer like you, our entire perception about the armed forces, about the army, the Assam Rifles has changed. Earlier, we had a negative impression about them. Apparently, that's what they told me. But you are a very friendly guy. You know our culture very well. You are one of us. So the term is Mayank. If you come from outside, if you're not from Manipur, you are a Mayank. Like a Nagaland would be a plain guy, which means from the mainstream. Means the mainland India, like say Delhi or Bombay or Bangalore, which is not from Northeast, right? So, but you're the first Mayank who is amongst us, who is our people, and I would feel very happy. It would be the best compliment of my life. Anyway, so in Nagaland there is Rengma, then there are different tribes, right? Now the very fact is, I not just learned Nagamese, not just basic like Kinika se, Bhala se, Bishibala se, Apuni Kikuria se, Apuni, Apuni Buya se, me I'm sitting. Then Apuni Kutaya se, where are you? Apuni, like same thing in our dialect would be Nakunlier, Home Nunglier, right? Or it would be Chongar Macho, like Khaishe Khanna, have you had food or not? Khanna, Bhai Khaishe, Bhat Khaishe, Macho. Right. So it's the dialect. Or if you say I Nanganungshi in Manipuri, it means I love you. I Nanganungshi Manipur. That's why I keep saying, right? In Ao, it would be Nina Myanmar. So there's a difference between knowing a language and knowing the dialect, knowing the sub tribe also. Like among the Aos also, they are different sub tribes. Now, similarly, so one has to understand that, like in Mizoram, for example, then they are Chakmas, then they are the Kuki people, then they are in Arunachal Pradesh, for example, they are the Nagas also are there. There's Apatami tribe over there. They are different tribes also, right? So one has to understand about the Northeast culture. Now the very fact is like the Angamis in Nagaland, they celebrate Sakrini. Sakrini is their festival. Like the Aos who celebrate Muatso and Songremo. Like 2nd August every year, I celebrate the festival with them as well. Be it virtually, be it so far away. And let me tell you one thing. The attachment, the bonding, my best friends are from the Northeast. They are people of principles, they are people of high morale, they are people of, they keep their word, they don't lead, कोई जबान के पक्के हैं भैया. And they are very ethical people. Very ethical. They don't cheat you, they don't trick you, they stand by what they say. Best of friends. And God forbid if you mess with them, then they are the worst of enemies. Yes. And let me tell you my experience with the insurgents in Northeast. I have always called them worthy opponents. Worthy opponents, why? Because they are so good in their craft, their jungle warfare, their guerrilla warfare. They can give you a run, they can give you a tough fight. So I have called them a worthy opponent, brave guys. There was an incident where there were 4 officers and 1 Havaldar. We were held captive by the insurgents in Northeast. I've done a video, I've done an interview with my former commanding officer of the Assam Rifles. Well, after doing ADC to my father, I'll just come back to this as well. To General Shah, I was ADC to Lieutenant General MS Radwal for a brief period. I was officiating ADC with him. So I learned the style of 2 Lieutenant Generals operating from 30,000 feet above mean sea level by observing them closely, and thereafter I got a next posting to the Assam Rifles. In Assam Rifles, I was awarded with a commendation card for exceptional duty. Not that I did anything exceptional, but the team that I was leading did something really exceptional. I had the honor of leading the Assam Rifles marching contingent on Kartavya Path, that time the Rajpath, on 26 January 2008 with 2 stress fractures in both my legs. And my commanding officer at that time, Brigadier Gautam Ganguly, that time Colonel Gautam Ganguly, solid officer, real tiger, a man with guts, a man who would hold your hand. He would forgive you for any mistake you make in goodwill, but if you do something wrong with open eyes, then he will be a very hard taskmaster. Great human being. That's the reason, even till today, we are very much in touch on a daily basis, actually. So, anyhow. So, I was telling you there was an incident when I was with the Assam Rifles where we were captured by the insurgents. And, but one thing I must appreciate, the insurgents blindfolded us, they cocked a weapon on our head, and one faith inside me told us that they will not shoot. Because we had a ceasefire agreement in Nagaland. They will not break the ceasefire agreement. And one of them was an Ao gentleman. The insurgents company commander. So I spoke to him in their dialect, and immediately we became friends. They opened my blindfold. They made noodles for us. They made tea for us. They looked after us. One very important thing, very interestingly, I must tell you, before they blindfolded us, they saluted us. This shows the respect. Now, God forbid had such a thing happen to us in Jammu Kashmir when I was there. You can well imagine what would have happened. They would have mutilated us, chopped us in pieces. I don't know, I mean, if anything would be remaining out of us. But anyhow, the very fact is, what I'm trying to tell you is, I have fond respect and regard for people from the Northeast. And that's why I keep saying, I Nanganungshi Manipur. Well, very interestingly, then in Nagamis, it's like Apuni lokote lok pai kena bishi bishi kushi paise. Means, aapse milke badi khushi hui. I am very happy to meet you. So, I said, when we used to go to Tripura, the Dev Burmans over there, and the people over there, again, very, very hospitable. Very hospitable. They'll go out of their way to look after you, to stand by you, to treat you well. So that is the reason I find that lacking in Delhi or some other place. We have a permanent house in Gurgaon, in Delhi NCR, right? I say I know Northeast much better than my own home city. My best friends are from Northeast. When I say Northeast, I do not say Manipur only or Nagaland only or Mizoram or Tripura or Arunachal. No, I mean the entire belt. And unfortunately, we don't know much about the Northeast. That's the real beauty of a country. People call, if I say, oh, I'm going to Imphal next week. Oh, you're going to Assam. That is the word. How ignorant, guys. Please learn a bit about the beauty of our country, about such beautiful places are there in Northeast. But no, हम छुट्टी मनाने जाएंगे कहाँ? Switzerland, जाएंगे America, जाएंगे Canada, जाएंगे London. But when there are such beautiful places in our country, I don't understand. There's a lake in Manipur, okay, called Lake Loktak. Lake Loktak has got floating islands. And the entire NH2, right from Dimapur, I've traveled on that several times. I don't know, I lost count. Right from Dimapur to Medzifema, Ghaspani, going up to Kohima, and then further on to Zakhama, and further on to Mao Gate, and then at the border, there's Mao Gate, and then there's Jwalamukhi at the Manipur border, right? Manipur-Nagaland border. And you enter Jwalamukhi, and then you go further on to Senapati, and then to Mantri Pokhri Imphal. You can bypass it. You can go over to Thobal, Kakchin. Then you leave Sorabasti on the other side. You move ahead towards Palil, and then to Technopal, which is predominantly a hilly area. Then to More, and then from More there is a border, the Burma border. That's called Tamu is on the other side. There's the red and white bridge. It used to be red and white in my time. Now I don't know how it is like. And then there is another route. Then there are Tangkuls, who are the Naga warriors from Manipur. They are from Ukhrul. There is a district over there called Shangshak. Very famous district. Now the Tangkuls, they are predominantly in an underground faction called NSCN. The NSCN used to be one, not all Tangkuls, some of them. Many Tangkuls are my best friends. They are very, very good people. And even the underground, for that matter, are very, very cultured people. So from Ukhrul, if you are going towards Nagaland, you can even take the route from Ukhrul. You go towards Jasami, Chesami, Foot Zero, Chakabama, up to Kohima. There's one more route from there. Then there's another route from Mokokchung, Jorhat. You can go to Mokokchung and then from there. And then there is another route from Mizoram. You can go to Chwachanpur. So people in Chwachanpur, like in Mizoram, they are the Kuki people as well. They are Mars in Mizoram as well. So the very fact is, there is, like, if you have to understand, you by kuch surnames hote na, like you hear Reddy or Rao, you know immediately they are from Andhra Pradesh. You hear Nayars, you hear Pillais, they are from Kerala. You hear Muttu, Armugam, Krishna Swami, they are mainly from Tamil Nadu. You hear Ali, Ahmad, Zakir, they are the Muslim community. So वैसे ही इस तरीके से people do not even know the difference between how a Mizo, a Naga, a Manipuri, but let me tell you all, ladies and gentlemen, the features are totally different. The features are totally different. And by virtue of having so many friends, I can tell by the feature which tribe he is from, which sub-tribe he is from. And then I speak to them in their dialect. And language is a very good bridge. It breaks a lot of barriers. So when I speak to them in their dialect, they're very happy. That is how, when the insurgents caught hold of us, when I spoke to them in their dialect, can you imagine that? They treated us to noodles and chai, and they left us without a scratch. We were back home. So I would say Do make a visit to the Northeast. It's a beautiful state, beautiful places, beautiful people, and you will not regret my advice. And please go and see by yourself. They say seeing is believing, right? So make a visit, and it's all very safe. Nothing to worry about. Take care. That is the reason why I take things on the Northeast, anywhere Northeast, very, very personally it pricks me here. Because I consider myself also as one of the persons belonging to Northeast. Jai Hind.